Alright, what's up, guys? Siltones back at you with the Chiefs preview and the Pittsburgh Steelers home opener at Heinz Field for Week 2 NFL 2018 season.
Absolutely, man. And after a pretty disappointing, underwhelming, sloppy, and I would say ugly performance against the Browns last week, we're hoping to obviously bounce back with a very good performance, which seems to be a common theme with us.
If you think about
a common trend with us.
Previous seasons.
Yeah. So let's just get right into it. A quick little background on the Steelers and Chiefs. We kind of have a little bit of a rich history, especially recently. I believe we've won 6 of our last 7 meetings against the Chiefs.
And I believe that does include the playoffs.
Yes. And the one matchup that we did lose was because, correct me if I'm wrong, Landry Jones was that's when Landry Jones got his first career start when Ben got injured.
Right.
I believe that was back in 2015, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think it was when Michael Vick was with us at the time.
Yeah, and he got injured, so Landry Jones had to step in.
But yeah, that was our last loss to the Chiefs. We're hoping that we don't lose to the Chiefs this upcoming game.
Right, and like I said at the beginning of the video, last week we had a pretty sloppy and ugly performance last week against the Browns, and we're obviously hoping to bounce back with a very great performance, and that tends to be a trend that we seem to have every year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look back at 2016, when we got blown the hell out by the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, I want to say 34-3 or something like that.
I can't remember the score, but we got completely destroyed by the Eagles. Then the next week, we came back home at Heinz Field and we just absolutely destroyed the Chiefs.
Yeah, we blew. So the Eagles blew us out, and then we came back home and blew out the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. And then last year against the Jacksonville Jaguars, Week 5, when Ben threw 5 interceptions, he and the Steelers came back and gave the Chiefs their first loss.
Right.
So the Steelers have a trend of having bad performances and bouncing back with great ones. And ironically, recently, it seems to be happening against the Chiefs, and we face the Chiefs this Sunday. So could that happen again? Possibly.
It's very possible, especially with Ben. You know, usually when he has a very off performance the week prior to the next game, like just the Browns game previously,
right,
and then he comes into the next game, he just has he has a all-out great performance. Yeah, he bounces back.
Yeah, he has a great stellar performance like Ben would usually. So
right,
that very well could happen. You know, I don't want to jinx anything, but it's very possible, and it's a
very common theme lately.
Yeah, it's a common trend with us for some reason, but it's more likely. It's definitely possible to happen this Sunday. I want to give a huge shout out to Leedy1 in the comments below, and a huge shout out to Still Maiden. They both mentioned it. Leedy1 said it in the comment section of our previous video, and Still Maiden said it in the group chat. So, and we've all been on the same page. We've all been thinking the same thing. So, it very well could happen.
It could be.
You know, I don't want to jinx anything, but you know, it's a common trend. So maybe it happens again. But I'm definitely not going to underestimate the Chiefs here because I want to start with their defense, or not different. I want to start with their offense. Let's just say they have a very stacked offense.
They really do.
Now, yes, they have a second-year quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, but they have great weapons around them. They got Sammy Watkins, they got Tyreek Hill, they got Travis Kelce, they got what's his name? Kareem Hunt.
They got Spencer Ware, who came back after being injured all last year.
Yeah, and they got a decent offensive line around them, so. I mean, you know, me personally, I wasn't high on Patrick Mahomes coming into his second year and being rushed, in my opinion, rushed into the starting role after they traded Alex Smith. But he honestly shut me up last week. He really did.
Yeah, right after we saw the Steelers and Browns game last week, we tuned into the Chiefs and Chargers game, and he just had an all-out performance.
Yeah, seriously. And like I said, he shut me up. Now, I don't want to judge him off of one game because it was his first game. It was his first, or it was really his first big game, and he needs to show signs of consistency. And this is why it's big for him
exactly
here in this game. So, but
especially against a great defense of ours.
Yes, and I know some guys are saying. First of all, I'm seeing a bunch of shit how the people are shitting on our defense. Honestly, if you look at it in the first half, they played tremendously. They played tremendously, and because of how the Steelers' offense performed, it really just dragged down the morale and their confidence in their playing overall.
Exactly. And with Ben giving away so many turnovers, the defense had to get back on the field, and they were already gassed out from the previous time they were on.
Exactly. So the offense really hurt the defense.
Exactly.
Now, hopefully, that's a totally different story this weekend against the Chiefs. And one man that we definitely got to watch out for is Tyreek Hill because he seems to be getting by the he seems to be getting better by the week.
Definitely, but I do want to say this because the previous times we've played Tyreek Hill, he's been, I wouldn't say non-existent, but he hasn't been the dynamic player that we all know he is. He hasn't put up a lot of stats. He's basically been somewhat shut down by us.
Yeah, you got a great point there. He's been very limited.
Exactly.
And like I said, I don't want to jinx anything, and that could happen because I think Tyreek Hill is a much better player this year with a few years under his belt. But you do have a point. When he comes to face us, we tend to limit him, which is good, and hopefully that continues this Sunday. But
exactly, and quite frankly, I would be more comfortable having Artie Burns cover him because he does have that track background because he did used to play track before he played football, so he's got that speed and he can catch up to Tyreek Hill's speed.
Right, and depending on whether Joe Hayden plays, because I can't remember what injury he suffered. But
I think it was a hamstring, but it's like a minor grade 1 injury, so it's not major.
Yeah, it's very minor
according to people.
And he has a chance to play week 2, but should he? In my honest opinion, I don't think we should play him.
No, we can't risk it.
Yeah,
he's very valuable to this defense. I have full confidence in James Conner. Not James. Well, yeah, James Conner on the offense, but we'll get to the offense later. I have full confidence in Cameron Sutton filling in for him.
Totally, and so do I. Cameron Sutton came in. He did pretty good last week, and with a year under his belt, I think he can only do better because he did good last week or last year, and then coming into fill in for Hayden last week, he did pretty good. He got a very big interception that sent us into overtime. He did allow a touchdown to Josh Gordon, but I'm not going to bust the balls over one play.
Exactly. If you think about it, and I want to give a huge shout out to Steel Jedi because me and him were talking about it. Cam Sutton had great coverage on this, just that Josh Gordon made the better play.
Yeah, really, he did. That's the type of player that Josh Gordon really is.
Yeah.
So, but I would not play Joe Hayden here. He's too valuable. He's too much of a big player for this defense to lose.
Exactly.
Now, I'm confident in Cameron Sutton stepping in, so that's why I'd have him come in. And we got to be very cautious with Joe Hayden, Yeah. He has a history of injuries, and do we want to risk anything worse on him?
Exactly.
Especially with a season this big. And so, I would start Sutton, but we'll see what happens. Either way, I'm confident. So.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
but we do have to keep an eye on for Kareem Hunt. Obviously he's a damn good running back. But our rush defense last week, besides, when they were gassed out and everything, when they kept getting on the field after all the turnovers,
right.
The rush defense did phenomenal.
I would say
they did great. They were able to shut down Carlos Hyde and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, I understand they allowed 177 total rushing yards. Most of that came from Tyrod Taylor, and like you said, they were just gassed out when they came back on the field and they allowed the majority of the yards. They were gassed out, and like I said, the offense just brought them down.
Exactly.
So, but when in the first half, when they were, doing real good and they showed a lot of great signs of promise, that rush defense was nasty. So,
very.
Hopefully that continues. Hopefully this defense picks up when they left off last week.
Right.
But the offense, they just gotta hold their end of the bargain.
Exactly.
They really do because, like we said, Ben tends to have bad performance and bounce back with a good one, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
And James Conner, I'm very confident to see what James Conner does. He had a phenomenal performance last week.
Exactly.
And this is another good test for him because we got to see if he's consistent. And if he does, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to replace Le'Veon Bell.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Exactly.
And speaking of Le'Veon Bell, didn't you want to say something about
how
the offense?
I wanted to mention it. In no way am I using this as an excuse on why the Steelers offense didn't click for some reason against the Browns. No way am I using it as an excuse, but as they were prepping and they were practicing and they were getting ready for the Browns game, there was all this talk of Le'Veon Bell because obviously he didn't show up, and everyone wanted to know, especially the offensive line, what their opinions were, and then Ben's, and then Brown's and Juju's. They want to know everyone's opinions.
Right.
I felt like it distracted them just a bit from the main objective, and that was the Browns game.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not using it as an excuse because in no way in hell was an excuse whatsoever because James Conner performed great. I just don't know what the fuck was up Ben's ass.
Yeah.
But with this whole Le'Veon Bell crap, I felt like it was a bit of distraction. For this game, it cannot be a distraction.
Yeah.
They gotta get Le'Veon Bell out of their head. They gotta focus on what's important, and that is the football game.
Exactly, and I completely agree. And that's something that Castro even said. He said after the game against the Browns, he said, "I don't want to talk about him no more." He wants to focus on the game, man. Take it one game at a time. Screw this Le'Veon Bell talk.
Exactly.
What else is there to talk? The offensive line gave their opinions. He's not going to show up to probably week 11.
And quite frankly, I don't care because I still have full confidence in James Conner.
Yeah, and if he has a consistent and good game here and shows signs of good consistency, there's no doubt in my mind Conner can take the load.
Yeah, and the Chiefs' run defense, it's good, but it didn't really do anything a lot against Chargers. I mean, granted, it's Melvin Gordon, but the backup, Austin
Eckler, he
Eckler,
did
yeah.
very good as well. And
Exactly.
honestly, the entire Chargers defense overall, I'm not too worried about because they even let the Chargers stick with them.
Right. And by the way, you said Chargers defense. You mean Chiefs defense?
Yeah, my fault. I'm thinking ahead of myself. But yeah, I'm not too worried about the Chiefs defense because they even let the Chargers stick with them.
Right.
Granted, some of that was in garbage time, but still, Philip Rivers still had a great performance. The receivers had a great performance.
Right.
The running backs did very well. So I think this offense coming back after a down performance and especially in a home opener, I think they can definitely bounce back with a phenomenal performance, possibly even better.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm very confident with the offense. The defense, I'm very confident with them. But against guys like Tyreek Hill and Kareem Hunt and a young and hungry Patrick Mahomes, it's gonna be a little tough. And that's what I'm mostly looking forward to is to see how this defense holds up against a very nasty and fresh and hungry and lethal offense.
Yes.
At least talent wise. So that's really all we're looking forward to, man. I mean, we want to see if Connor is consistent. If he is, there's no doubt that he's the solution to Bell. The defense they got to keep doing what they did last week. Only limit the penalties as long as this entire team. They got to limit the mistakes, limit the penalties, limit the turnovers.
Exactly.
Limit all that shit.
Exactly.
That really affected us last week.
Exactly. I want to see more from Artie Burns because against the Browns, he did very good.
Yeah, he really did. So
But I don't think he allowed one catch whatsoever. Not that I can remember.
Yeah, so I don't know, but
I want to see more from Artie Burns. I want to see more from Terrell Edmonds because he shined pretty good.
Yeah, he actually showed good signs. I remember he had this great pass breakup against. I can't remember the receiver's name, but he redeemed himself after the receiver got a step on him, and he was able to make a great play, which resulted in a Browns punt. So he showed signs last week. I want to see more from him, especially since we don't know if Burnett is coming back. But I think we're still going to be very precautious with him, and I think we're going to start Edmonds again. So I want to see more from him. I want to see more from this motherfucker right here.
TJ Watt, just self-explanatory right there. I want to see more from Bud Dupree because he did have some nice pass rush. He did get a sack. I want to see if he's consistent with this.
Of course, and this as well as this entire pass rush.
Yes.
And the thing is, the Chargers pass rush actually do pretty good last week, so I think our pass rush can possibly do better. So we'll see what happens.
Right, exactly.
So
and on the offense, I do want to see Antonio Brown. Obviously, just like TJ Watt, self-explanatory, but TJ Watt and Casey Hayward should be a nice wide receiver cornerback fight.
Absolutely. So that should be pretty fun. There's a lot of fun matchups here.
It definitely is.
It should be a very fun, interesting game. But we're definitely looking forward to a lot from Connor, a lot from the defense, specifically Edmonds and Watt and Dupree and Burns, to see how they can do against top-notch talent against the Chiefs.
Right, and one more. I do want to see a lot of James Washington because we didn't see a lot in the receiving game. I'm hoping we do put him in the receiving game in this one.
Yeah,
because we all know the caliber receiver James Washington can be.
Right, but I'm not gonna be too worried about it because remember last year Juju didn't have too much of a fast start, and look what he did.
Right.
So I think he was like the 5th or 6th receiver on the depth chart, and then he climbed his way up until that starting slot role.
Yeah.
So the same thing could happen with James Washington, but we'll see what happens. But I do agree. I hope we see a little bit more from Washington. So anyway, guys, that's our preview. Not really else much to say. I'm very confident in the offense. I'm very confident in the defense. Another thing I want to add is the offensive line. They almost got Ben killed last week.
Exactly.
So I want to see them upgrade, and I want to see them do much better than they did last week.
Especially since they're going up against Justin Houston, D Ford, and Chris Jones.
Right.
And some other good pass rushers.
Right. Now, I believe last week the Chiefs pass rush didn't really do too stellar, but still. This offensive line has to pick up. They got to stop with the holding penalties.
Seriously.
They got to limit the pressures. They got to protect Ben. They got to continue to make holes for Connor. So all that shit. Basically just limit the mistakes you made last week with the penalties and the turnovers, and just come in to your home field, home stadium.
Protect Ben and open holes for Connor just like you did last week.
And that's for the offense. That's for the defense. Get to Mahomes. Limit Hill and Kelsey. And Hunt, I mean, that's a lot easier said than done, but I think we can definitely do it.
And maybe even Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really too worried about Sammy Watkins. I'm more worried about Hill, especially with his speed. And I think they call him the Cheetah.
Yeah, I believe so.
And he is literally the Cheetah. He's too freaking fast, too explosive.
Exactly.
So we got. I think he's the player I'm really worried the most about. Now, like Bobby said, we have a history of limiting him. He doesn't really have a stellar resume against us, but still.
I hope that continues, but we will see this Sunday.
Of course. So that's really what we're looking forward to. I think we are very confident in our team. So hopefully that the common theme that we have of having a bad performance and bounce back with a good one comes true and continues here.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens. Very excited for the game, man. We got the Steelers and Chiefs, Heinz Field this Sunday. Let us know what you guys think. Comments below. What you're most looking forward to. Comments below. And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you later. Peace! Here we go, Steelers.